those of you that are joining now, I just want to extend. Yes, there you go. You have crown number 2, by the way, Antonio. I think this is top contributors, top fans. That's how this is labeled for whatever reason. But yeah, I'm. Where are you calling from, Antonio? I believe you are in Canada. Am I correct? Maybe I'm wrong. But as I was saying before, I have no agenda apart from just serving you guys in whatever way you'd like me to help you out in this moment with whatever questions that you have. Ah, you are in Madrid. Cool. With whatever questions that you may have for me. Again, no agenda for this other than to serve you, other than to help you in whatever way and capacity that you'd like me to do so. Um, just a small note that I said in the very beginning of this session here, um, and probably you guys are, if you guys are coming from our mailing list, and that's, if that's the way that you joined right now, you probably know what I'm about to tell you. But after 3 months of putting the next level program on a sabbatical, we are now reopening doors. Okay, so if you guys would like to know more, and if you came from our mailing list, you know exactly where this you know what to do. Register to know more informations about exactly what's going to happen, it's going to happen. All the details will be shared with you. But this session is not about that. Okay, it could be about that, but it's not about that. This session is literally me trying to help you guys in whatever way you see fit. I have no agenda. This is a session for you. I knew that this would not bring big numbers. That was on purpose, because I decided to do this last minute. So this could be a little bit more intimate. Okay, so if you guys would like to ask any questions about whatever thing you'd like me to ask, or to help you, I'm here for you. So I'll start with you, Antonio, since you are engaging here on the chat. How can I help you today? In the meantime, for those of you that don't know about the reopening, I'm just going to put the form here for you guys to register if you'd like to know more information. Okay, but again, this session is not about that at all. Okay, this session is just about you. So I'll ask you again, Antonio, or whoever wants to participate in this ask me anything question, ask me anything session. That's what I meant. How can I help you guys? How can I make this session valuable for you? What are the questions that you have that you probably didn't have an opportunity to ask them before? I'm here to serve you. Okay. In the meantime, as I said before, I'm just going to put the registration link for the next hour program. If you guys would like to join, I'm just going to put in here. In the meantime, if you have questions like Antonio just did right now, just put them back. Just type them down, and I'll reply to you in a second. But if you would like to know more information about the reopening of the next level program, register below. Register here. Okay. So Antonio, your question is sorry. So the link is there for those of you that like to do this. Just want to know if there's a way to solve a wrong work interview. Okay, what do you mean by that? A wrong work interview? Because there may be many things wrong about the work interview. Is it because you didn't convey yourself in the way that you'd like to convey yourself? Is it because the salary didn't match your expectations? It's because you didn't get the job overall? What happened? Because this is very open for me to try to help you. So if you could be a little bit more precise, that would be great. And if for those of you that are here that have other questions, just let me know, and yeah, we'll make this more valuable. Okay, because this is the reason of why I'm here today. Okay, I have no agenda other than just trying to help you. I'm not expecting big numbers, as I said before. I wanted this to be intimate for those of you that could engage. I understand that this is last minute, so maybe a lot of people can join, which is fine. Maybe we'll do something a bit more properly announced in the future regarding these sessions. But in any case, this is a session for you guys to ask me whatever thing you'd like to ask me. But Tony, if I can get a little bit more clarity about your question, that would be great. Great, because at the moment it's too open for me to help you. So, what do you mean solve a wrong work interview? If you guys have any other questions, just let me know as well. Just put them on the chat. Again, for those of you that are joining, we are now 8 people right now. But if you have any questions about anything regarding your career, regarding the world of visual effects at the moment, I know that this has been like a tough period for a lot of people. This is the reason why I'm doing this session. No agenda other than to serve you. Okay. So Antonio said, not about technical knowledge or salary. It's about the way you explain or you can explain the work you do. It was for a comp sup role, and they thought that I wasn't really clear with some answers. Okay, we need to drill this down a little bit more, Antonio. I'm afraid, because I don't know exactly what they asked you, and I don't know exactly what you answered, right? Although I can maybe say something that is a bit more generic and maybe can help you quite a lot, because as you probably know, I hired like a lot of people during my time, and a lot of them were supervisors as well. And when I had someone in an interview for a consup job, or a leadership, could be like lead comp or comp soup. I was not so concerned or paying too much attention to the real. To be honest, that was something that would inform me about certain things, but not about. It was not the thing that I was paying more attention to. And the reason for that, just on a side note here, the reason for that is because Showreel doesn't give me from the perspective of this is very personal of from the perspective of who's hiring, right? But in my case, it wouldn't give me like a lot of insight about that person, because other than the specific thing. But the reason is we know that shores are shared, um, between people, are shared between companies, especially more and more. This is the reality. So I kind of that doesn't really give me insights. The insight that would give me was not so much about the shots themselves, unless there was like something that was like really eye catching, and then I would ask something specific about that shot. But it was rare, to be honest. But the insight that I would get from a showreel, it was more about the type of project that this person was used to work with, the type of clients, the type of deadlines, the type of sort of like pressure, if you will, um, because that would inform me more about the role and the type of projects that I was hiring for. It was not about the show reel itself. Okay, so when we talk about at a leadership role, the best thing that you can ever have on your side is to basically find where things are missing. All right, and if you know if you have been around for quite a while, and I believe that's your case, Antonio. Otherwise, you wouldn't be applying for a concept job. You know that the majority of things in projects they fail during its execution, right? It's the management side of things that normally have things failing. So if you can get to that level of clarity and knowledge and practice, it's the fastest way to get noticed. It's the fastest way to instigate a sense that other people have about you regarding your authority. Okay, more than anything else. It's a combination of things, obviously, all right? But management is where things fail most of the time. So if you can be that person that can do the shots, can manage a team, that this take us to a different kind of level of knowledge, right? But if you can get to the level of management that is supposed to be in that role, you're probably going to be the one, just the one that have the clarity needed at that for that role. And what I mean by this is to create a system that allows you to basically prevent problems before they become problems. Basically, build a system that allows you to have information about what's coming what's needed at any time in automatic way, without you needed to reinvent the wheel. And I'm talking about things like what is the projected delivery at the pace that we are, going at. What is the needed team at the given moment for a specific sequence, or for a specific number of shots, or for a specific, or for the overall project. And I mean, there's a lot of detailing to all of this. This is like a great deal of what we're all about regarding the next level program. This is like the biggest step in the transformation that we provide to the people that we work with. Again, it's a combination, but this is what I want to highlight. This is the best focus point that you can ever have to win within an interview, or to get notice to be that person in a leadership role, because it's super rare. Okay, and if you are capable of not only having the knowledge and putting the knowledge in practice, but to have the right strategy on how to go all about this is the fastest way for you to get the recognition that you want, that you're seeking, that you've been working so hard for. Um, there's steps in order for you to get there effectively. That is impossible for me to help you more than what I'm saying. I'm just giving you the hint of what is the area that is going to put you closer to the role that you want to be at successfully and sustainably, which is one of the most important aspects of it, right? So Anthony is saying a little bit more. So it's not about technical knowledge salary, it's more about the way you explain or can explain the work you do. It was for a comp soup role, and they thought I wasn't clear in some answers, so I already went through this. Then the thing was that since the start of interview, I felt like kind of resistance to really long answers. So probably, most likely, at the end of the interview, I make my answers a bit shorter. The interview with the recruiter was really good, as it didn't put hard limit on time. Even we know that there's a limit for it. Um, Look, there's like this technique that is called the mirror. Okay, that can be very effective, which basically you mirror your answers and posture that they're having with you. In that way, you're matching yourself to their expectations without asking. All right. So if they are really short with you don't give like long answers. Okay, you don't need to be like super concise and super short to a point that you became like not a human. Okay, but you don't like dwell onto like long answers, because apparently the energy, it's not that one, right? But I stand by what I said before. I stand by what I said before, which is if you are applying for a leadership role, the best thing that you can do is to talk leadership subjects, talk leadership angles. Okay, I wouldn't care much about, to be honest with you, when I was interviewing and hiring for leadership roles, I wouldn't care much about like the shots or the things. I wanted to know more about like what he or she, the candidate, did for the team. um, uh, did for the team. I mean, like what were the leadership practices that this person was putting in practice when it came to his or her role. That was the most important thing for me. The majority of them, all right, unfortunately for me to say, didn't have much awareness, if any, about leadership, like tangibly speaking. Okay, and so that's why I'm saying, and I'm standing by what I said, which is if you can be that person, a lot of doors can open for you very quickly. Look, I don't want to make this about the program, okay, but I have to say this, what I'm about to say, because it's super related to what you're asking. There's one thing that we offer in the program called project management clinics, and this is a live session that we offer monthly for people that want to really delve into this side of things with the support. Okay, of course, the program itself will have this, but this is a specific session just for this purpose. And one thing that we notice is the ones that put in practice certain things that come with the program, but also that we talk about and help to implement during these calls, they got noticed immediately. And by immediately, I'm saying literally overnight. And the reason is really simple. It's because this is lacking so much that if you can be that person, this will be immediately noticed. Okay, if you are capable of producing um, a tool, okay, without mimicking the tools that you guys already have. But if you can basically somehow, okay, I'm not going to call it a tool, although we make a tool or we help people making a tool for themselves, um, regarding this subject. But put that aside. If you can be the person that can have the insights that nobody else in the company has regarding deliveries, regarding team size, regarding whatever thing we're talking about the project, okay, at the given time, without you needing to reinvent the wheel and having the answers even before anyone asks you, because you already know what they're going to ask you, and therefore you already have a system in place that will give you the answers and make you in control, and also being the best person and the best friend for the ones in production, including also your leadership above your level of leadership that you perhaps hold on a given moment. You're going to be noticed really really quick. That happened to me multiple times. All right, and that's sort of like the methodology that we also have in the next level program, and the area that is responsible, although it's a combination of things, as I said before, but it's the area that has been giving the fastest results for people to get noticed and to basically get to the levels or to the clarity that they would like to. And I'm not talking about only people that are not in the leadership role and want to get there. I'm talking about also people that are already in leadership roles, because the majority of the people that we've been working with, it's not much, but I would say like 50-50. 50% of people are not in leadership roles and they end up like growing into leadership roles. The other 50% are people that are already in leadership roles. And by leadership roles, I mean like from lead compositor to composing supervisor to VFX supervisor to CG supervisor, to head of department, for example. All of these things require different types of approaches and knowledge and all that kind of stuff. But this is the area that will give you the fastest answers. And by the way, just a side note here for those of you that are not there yet in leadership roles, um, maybe you heard me saying this before in videos that I published and stuff like that, but I'm going to say it anyway again, which is the worst mistake that you can ever do for your career trajectory regarding like career growth and leadership roles, if you want to get there, is to think that you should only worry about the management side of things once you get there. And the reason for this is very simple. It's because by the time that you get there, and if you've never been there before, you're going to be inundated with a lot of new things that you don't know about, and you're going to feel a little bit overwhelmed and a little bit out of your depth, which is natural because it's the first time that you're doing this. But the most important thing is that you're not going to have the time to dedicate yourself to build a system that will put you in control, and the time is not going to be there for you, and time is going to be your number one enemy. So the worst thing that you can do is to think that only when you get there is when you're gonna delve into these side of things, because you're not gonna have the time, you're not gonna have the opportunity. So the best thing is to start this before you get there, because it's two reasons. It's the process itself that is going to get you noticed and probably is going to motivate the invite to get to that role. That's number one. Number two, it's the fact that by the time, if you do this with low stakes, basically with a smaller canvas of responsibility, let's say just your shots, and you can basically design a tool or a system that allows you to be in control in a lot of different ways, right? Control about your own scope of work, you just as an artist, okay? You can then expand this, okay, into a bigger scope. And by the time that you get into that leadership role, you already have at least something that allows you to be in control from the get-go. And that in itself is going to not only put you in more control, it's going to put you ahead of most likely everyone when it comes to numbers, and to know exactly whether you are ahead or behind or on schedule or whatever, not needing to other people to tell you, but you have the numbers on your side that allows you to have exactly that sort of awareness. Okay, this is like, I can't tell you this enough, this is the biggest opportunity. It's not AI, it's not this, forget all of that. Okay, this is where everything fails. Things don't fail because of lack of talent, about like this technique or this shot not being so beautiful. That's not where things fail. Things fail at management. So if you can be that guy or that girl, okay, that professional, you're gonna be noticed very quickly. I cannot tell you this any other way because I've seen this with my own eyes many, many times, not only in my own experience, but the ones that we have been working with. All right. Another question from Ganesh. Hello, Ganesh. How useful do you think of UI could be in VFX composite pipeline? Um, I think these tools, whether it's that tool or any other tool, I think it's going to be integrated into the pipeline in the way that it's already sort of like happening. However, and this is, I'm just going to recover some of the things that I said before. But before getting there, Antonio, let me know if it was helpful. I said it was helpful. Cool. If I can get you some more clarity about this, Antonio, just let me know. Okay. Also, um, let me just check something here. Um, I just put this here. I'm just going to repeat this again, okay? If you guys, because as you probably know, if you guys came from our mailing list, if you guys came to this session from our mailing list, you know that we are reopening doors for the next level program. So if you guys want to join, um, like the information about like what's going to happen in the next cohort, just put your name in that small form, and I'll be in touch. We will be in touch with you. All right. So regarding the question, those technologies, this technology, like we're talking about AI, is going to be, hello, Alex. It's going to be part of the pipeline in a way that is already happening right now. But the thing that I want to say is that, and there's a lot of confusion about this topic, okay, which is people thinking that they need to know about every new tool that comes out, um, and they think that that's what's going to take them to the levels or to the salaries or to the um, you know expectation that they want to have and they want to meet for their careers. Okay, that's not how it works, and I'm going to give you an example that I think is going to be really easy to understand. All right, if that would be the case, if the trick, let's call it like this, if the solution would be to learn all of these things, okay, and to be on top of everything that comes out, which is impossible, especially in this day and age, because there's new things like coming out like every day. But forget like the number of things. Let's just say like the technical aspect of it, right? If the trick was there, and if at the same time everybody is doing that, what's going to happen is that you're going to be amongst people doing exactly the same, having the same level of technicalities, knowing exactly about all these new tools that come out. That's not, and you know this for a fact, that is not what's going to put you in the position that you want to be at. Because you are basically like everyone else. You're not putting yourself in any kind of different position. And positioning is exactly what's going to take you to the levels that you want to get, okay, and to the types of contracts and to the types of seats at the table that you want to be at. It's not about the technicality only, okay. All of these things are important, of course, but if you focus is solely on knowing about this new tool or this new thing that comes out or that came out or whatever, it's not gonna, that's not what's gonna take you there, okay. I'm gonna give you a different example that I think is gonna um, make things a little bit more easy to understand as well. Like if we zoom out for the last, let's say, 2 to 3 years, okay, that has been um, a trend, okay, not a trend, but it's part of my observations, okay, and you, I know that you're going to resonate with what I'm about to say as well, which is, remember the time when the first images about AI came out, um, like Mid Journey, for example, right? So at that time, there was virtually no one that was not posting on LinkedIn or whatever. There was virtually no one that was not producing an image and saying, "Oh, this is amazing, so cool," and so this and so that. So that happened. Fast forward a few months after that, the same people that were doing that, they were the ones complaining about AI and about the technology. Okay, that's sort of like started creating like a divide, like the initial divide regarding these technologies. Then what happened more or less at the same time? I'm not sure if this was right after or at the same time or a little bit before. There was like the trend when it came to tools in compositing and stuff like that was Unreal, right? And Foundry came up with an Unreal bridge at that time. so people could basically work on with an Unreal renders in Nuke directly. But that was the trend, right? So that was another trend. Before that, there was Mari. Okay, that was Mari and Mari for textures, and Foundry also had the bridge for Nuke regarding that that software as well. Now it's ConfUI, okay, or Gaussian splats, or whatever it may be. So I'm not saying I'm just trying for you guys to follow trend here, okay? There will always be new things. There will always be new things. But if everybody is doing exactly that and only that, all of everybody's going to have the same kind of skill set, and that's not what's going to basically give you the edge for you to get to where you want to be at. You're going to be amongst everybody else doing the same thing, knowing exactly about the same thing from the same angles, from the same perspective, from the same point of view. So this is not how you're going to get to the levels and to the sustainability of your careers that you want to have. Okay, so technicalities and technology are important. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ignore them. Of course, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what is the level of your attention that you're giving to this side and to this side only, forgetting other sides that will produce more leverage? Because what you want, if what you want is to have more sustainability in your careers, if what you want is to have like the right seats at the right tables, if what you want is to feel respected in the industry, if what you want is to not have like short contracts, or to be always worried with the type of contract that you normally get, if that's what you want, you need to do things from a different point of view that you've been doing so far. Because I mean, you already have that experience, right? And the way to do that is to create, if you want leverage, because that's what you want, you need to play with leverage. And leverage doesn't come from the fact that you're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. You need to create a pocket, or to identify a pocket of skills that are mostly the ones that are missing, that are aligned with the role or the roles that you want to be at, and to double down on those, because everybody's looking to many different places, and there's these one or two spots that everybody's missing. Okay, so it's not about like the technicalities or whatever it may be. Okay, it's about everything, but it's more about identifying the ones that give you more leverage, if it's leverage that you want. And I believe that the majority is exactly what they want. They want leverage. They don't want be like everybody else and to be in the same position that you've been so far. All right, hopefully that helps you guys a little bit. Okay, but there's a trend. Okay, so it started with Mari, right? To see from my memory, started with Mari, then it came Unreal, then at the same time it was the first let's say version of Gen AI with what was the technology? There's so many things right now that I just mentioned right now, but that was the first initial thing. Then that created like the first initial divide. Then a few years after that, more recently, was Gaussian splats. Then all that kind of stuff. None of this will give you the leverage that you are looking for. I'm not saying that it's not important, but I'm saying that if it's leverage that you want for your career, you need to play with leverage as well. Okay, and the biggest point of in having that leverage is to identify where things are missing, where are the areas that are missing, that are aligned to where you want to be, and to be on that line. Because the most common thing to happen, and I've seen this countless times, is people that want to get to a certain place and want to be like in a certain top of a certain trajectory, let's say comp supervision. All right, there's a way to get there, right? But what happens is people get distracted with these shiny objects, so they turn right. So they start following the different path. Then after this, they turn left. There's another shiny object. And they go on a path that all of a sudden they are completely lost about like what was the actual lane that they should be at, because they are in a different trajectory, forgetting or realizing that they don't even know where they they were supposed to be at, and they lost track about like what was actually the goal that initiated their journey, because they got distracted with so many other things that the lane, because there's a way to get there, the lane that they should be at, that is completely like lost. because they took like a turn that took them to a different destination, if any destination at all, just like a different view, a different kind of experience, right? But it's not the experience that you set yourself out in the first place, right? Hopefully that helps you a little bit as well. So going back to Antonio, it was a weird interview because all the management questions were really well explained with examples in my career, and only the technical questions were a bit shorter as they were looking for a comp soup. Um, okay, I'm not sure exactly, how to answer more about this, Antonio, without knowing exactly what we're talking about here. It's not because I don't want to help; it's because I like context. That's the only reason. Um, the management questions. I'm not sure exactly what they asked you about management, but I would be surprised if they ask you the right questions. Normally, that's not the case. Okay, normally they don't ask you the right questions, which is an opportunity for you to like give them the right answers without even them asking, and you give them the right answers with the right types of insights. That's basically what I'm saying. You know, if you are capable of talking management from a perspective that they didn't even thought about, you're going to win them over. Okay, this is a more dense topic. This is like a lot of the work that we do, for example, with people that work with us, like all these strategies and these things. There's knowledge and there's strategy to put things in practice. Okay, but but yeah, that's as much as I can tell you right now without knowing more about like what happened exactly. Question from Alex: on the NATO program, you think maybe teach some Blink script or C++ with Python? No, we don't go to that level. And again, we not that level. We don't teach that. The reason why we don't teach that is because that is not part of the lane to get to the career growth that you want to experience. Okay, those are things that are nice to have, perhaps, but that's not part of the way to get there. Okay, I'm not saying once again that are not valuable, but you as an upcoming supervisor, okay, it's not up to you to know all about like these technologies. It's up to the members of your team and the way that you build the teams to get there and to give you those insights and to build certain things. You need to know, of course, a lot of things. We are big on Python, for example. That is like the core of how pipelines are built anyway. But going more specifically with C++ or Blink script, that has like very specific use cases, and there's like other things to be aware of it. That is not necessarily speaking the way of the lane that I was talking about before to get through from where you went to where you want to be. Okay, that is taking you to a different path. If that's what you want to do, that's totally fine, of course. But I'm just saying that there's a way to get from where you are to the levels that you want to be. There's a road, okay, and we are focused on that road. We are ignoring on purpose shiny objects that don't belong to that road. Are important for other roads, but not for the road that we work people with. Okay. Another question from I can say this name. Jaros. I'm just gonna say the first few letters. Hello. What might be the examples of a good management system you can develop? Well, I could show you. I was not prepared for this, but I could show you perhaps in a different session. But the metrics that you want to actually maybe I'm gonna do this. I was not expecting to do this, but I'm gonna try to show you. Okay. So for those of you that are here, that is probably a nice surprise. So let me show you here. Let me give you like a couple of examples here. I'm not sure if I can show you this. Let's see, because I've never done this in this way. Share screen. I think I can share. You guys can see this, yeah? Yeah. So this is like like one case. Okay, very simple, but this allows you to be in like in a alignment in awareness of everything that is happening on a given time on a given project, which basically certain things about the project. So for example, average days per shot there is in the bid, like what is the today's date. Of course, this is automatic. What is the delivery date? And then with a lot of other information in here, but you just put these ones in yellow, okay? And then the number of shots, of course, and then it will tell you like the number of people that is advisable for advisable, meaning the right number of people on average for you to be in this for you to meet the deadline. And it will give you, like, if you have like less people than the ones that are supposed to be, like, it tells you exactly what will be the scenario if that is the case. Okay, so if your contract deadline is in 49 days and if you have only 13 people with these metrics, you can deliver this in 62 days, which is going to be above the delivery line. Okay, so if you cannot have this, okay, if you're gonna have this level of awareness, this is just like a small example. Okay, I'll show you like one more complete, but this is something that I used to use anytime that I wanted to even before I tend to use this before a project coming in. Okay, people would tell me, okay, you're going to be the comp sub for this project. Okay, the first thing that I want to ask is just like these few things, and I know immediately whether or not I'm in control of the situation or not, depending on what is the number that they tell me that the team is going to be like. Okay, if they say, for example, okay, we only have 10 people, I can say, okay, this is a problem, and I show them immediately why that is a problem. And if they disagree with me, I just ask them, like, okay, if you disagree with me, that's fine, no problem, but these are my numbers, where are your numbers? Okay, then after this, you can negotiate with them. Like, this is always a group effort. Okay, I'm just gonna run through this like super quick because I wasn't expecting to do this, to be honest. But then it comes to the time in which you need to do some group projection, and this is the time in which you're gonna work as a team with production. Okay, you can ask them, okay, what is the number of days in which you want to look at the team and to dimensionalize the team? And they can say, okay, every 5 days we want to look at the team. So this sheet that I've built divides the days from today until the delivery date that we set out, okay, with the compression level, okay, because the way that we do things in comp, as you know, there's dependency, so we cannot deliver things linearly. So with the knowledge that I have, and this is part of the things that we teach people in the Excel program, is to build a tool like this and more complete one that I showed you in a second. But basically, you're going to be the one establishing the compression level that will basically put delivery on a more exponential way, which is mimicking more the reality. Okay, which means that in the beginning we're going to have less needs, okay, because we have dependencies, but then over time it's going to grow and grow and grow. And probably the number on average is going to be the one, or very close to the one that we established in the beginning. Some differences here and there, depending also whether there's weekends and days off and stuff like that. For example, bank holidays and stuff. But it will basically put you in control about and in negotiation with production about how we're gonna do actually this, because you're gonna say to production something like this: okay, I don't need like this number of people to start with because we have dependencies, but we can start with less if you ensure to me that every 5 days, and they were the ones establishing this number, every 5 days you can assure me that we can have on our side 1% of the entire show, and the entire show in this case is 200 shots, okay, because that's what we established, okay, 200 shots. We can you can ensure me that we can have 1% of the show that is the equivalent of 3 shots in this case for us to comp and deliver. Okay, if you can do that between 16th of March in this case, these dates, and 21st of March, we can move to the next stage in which we're gonna jump from the need of 2 people to 6 people, because now we need to ensure that we have 4% of the show, okay, which it's equivalent of 6 shots, excluding this because we are assuming that these ones were delivered, okay. And so you go like this and you negotiate this with production. This is like something that I used to do even before the project coming in. When I was running the project, okay, I had this level of awareness, okay. I'm not going to go through all of this because this will take us ages to explain you here, but I had this awareness and knowledge in real time without depending on anyone, and having actually being the one not only running the show but helping a lot of other people in production and supervision, and we have a supervision in this case, to have the insights that I had. Basically, this is all data, so it's a little bit outside. You know, it basically doesn't make much sense with the numbers that we have in here. But in any case, what this will show us is like every SQL sequence automatically. Okay, I don't have to reinvent the wheel to get to this level. Every sequence will have the projected delivery with the pace that we are going at on with the team. Okay, with the estimated delivery. If the estimated delivery is above the delivery, then we are in trouble. So I know that sequence one, if that would be the case, it will be in trouble. So I would know, I would go to one of these other tabs to know exactly what is the thing that is missing. Okay, and this one is red. It will tell me, this tool, it will tell me, okay, it's red, meaning you're not going to be able to deliver this on time. If you continue going like this, here's what you need. And it gives me that insight automatically. So this will give me like this per sequence and trailers if I want to. And all of this is customizable. You know, in whatever way you want. Then these other ones in here is basically the accumulated work that each one of the artists have, depending on the type of assignments that they have and the pace that they are going for, or they're going with, and how does that compare, all accumulated per artist, how does that compare with the deadline? Okay, so that is like enough level of awareness, which means that everybody that is above this line, the red line, is in trouble, meaning they have over assignments, which means that I need to distribute this to other people. Okay, this I'm running this super quick because there's way more than this. This other one would give me the entire team on a given moment, and this will all of this will grow automatically, and everything is parented with today's date, meaning that all of this is automatically updated. Okay, I don't need to reinvent the wheel, so I will save time for the things that really need my time, as opposed to needing to be or to reinvent the wheel or to recalculate the numbers every time. But this one will give me the accumulated days per shot and the number of shots that each one of these people have assigned, because there's this misconception sometimes from production to say that, or to think that, to think that the number of shots, if they are the same, that means that they're going to be delivered at the same time, which is not the case at all, because we know that different shots have different levels of requirements, and of course, and difficulties and all that kind of stuff. So of course, that will play a huge importance in that. So this will give me that awareness immediately. This other one is basically giving me like how every sequence is progressing in terms of delivery in comparison to one another, because the last thing that you want is to progress with one or two sequences really well and all the other ones are dying. That's gonna You're gonna pay the bill sooner or later. So it's good to have that awareness. And this other one is to basically know immediately, in a very easy way, how many people are working in my team on a given sequence, for example. Okay, so there's way more to this. I'm just giving you like a very quick overview about like all of these things. There's way more than this. Is like a great part of the work that we do. Um, because we work in phases. Like for those of you that are interested in the next level program, and I know that some of you have been in touch with me, we do things in three phases. Okay, the first phase is technical mastery, without distracting ourselves with shiny objects. It's like technical mastery for the goal that we want to be at. Okay, for the goals that we have in hands. Okay, and the goal is you are in a certain level, you want to go to the next level in your career. Okay, whatever that may be, or even like the top level of your career. So there's a technical side of things that allows you to be there when it comes to the compositing side of things. And then that's the first phase. Okay, so we're going to refine your technique and get you noticed like really fast. The second phase is the management phase, in which you need to have this level of awareness to be in control when it comes to that role, but also it's through the process of putting this in practice that you're going to basically gain visibility, and it basically will be the process that will take you there as well. Okay, so that is the second phase. And the third phase is about mindset, strategy, and soft skills. Okay, because this is when everything comes together. You can have all the other things. If you don't have a strategy to put things in place that will take you there, you just have the knowledge and you don't have like a way to get there. Okay, which is a lot of times, especially when it comes to the technical side of things, it's a lot of times what happens. Okay, people have like all this knowledge, and the more knowledge that they have, the more counterproductive for their career in terms of like trajectory is. And also, this is something that I was about to mention this before, and then I forgot because something else came up. An important insight that a lot of people tend to miss is this: if you get really good at, for example, technicalities or artistical ability, okay, and only that, the better you become at that, the less interest people have to put you in a upper position. Why? Because they need you at that specific role that you're so good at, and that role only. That role meaning that side of things, right? Why should they put you in a different position if you haven't shown anything different from that specific thing that you do and that you're so good at? Okay, they need someone to be in that position. They need to have someone that is really good at the technical side of things, right? So if you cannot be that guy, or if you're only that person, you're gonna, be stuck there exactly because of the same reason. All right, make sense? All right, guys. Look, I hope this makes sense. Oh, okay, we can continue for a little bit more because I was a bit worried that I need to pick up my kid, but it just came in. So we can stick around for a little bit more. So again, does this make sense, guys, about like what I just mentioned and showed you, and the strategy behind all of this? Because a lot of these things, this is the type of stuff that often gets missed by a lot of people, and that's why things don't happen. You see what I'm saying? Because you keep doubling down on the things that is the technical aspect or the artistic aspect only, and that is the more you become better at it, sort of like a contradiction, right? But the more you become better at it, the less interest people have at looking at you in a different way that is going to benefit you more career wise, because they need someone to be really good at that, and you are that person. This is, for example, super common. Well, things are changing now, but this is super common across people that do, for example, roto, right? Nope. I actually met some people that like to do that, but they are the minority, right? But people that do roto or cleanups, right? It's not because they like it. I know that we all know that in America, maybe you are some of these people, right? You want to, these people want to go up in the hierarchy of things. They want to start doing comps and stuff like that. But because they're so good at that kind of job, and that job needs to be done by someone, and they're so good, there's no interest from the ones that are above them to put them in a different position other than the one that, or that position that they're already doing so well. You see how this works. This is like a very simple strategy that often gets missed, and that's one of the reasons, or the reason, of why the majority of the people get stuck in their careers. It's because they keep doubling down on a specific thing that it might be cool to work with, it might be helpful to a lot of people, but if you not expand your horizons into the areas that give you more leverage, you're not going to get leverage. So you're playing like a different game. The game that you're playing, if you do that, is you want to gain leverage without playing leverage. It's not going to work. Does it make sense, guys? You're saying, thank you, Pedro. Thank you, Pedro. Yes, yes, yes. It makes a lot of sense. Cool. I'm glad, and I'm glad that if you guys, if there's like just this insight that you guys took from this session, I think I'm already doing my job. um, but this is the, how can I say, if I can distill like one of I mean, there's many, right? But if I can distill, like all different strategies, it comes down to this one. Okay, there's many different things of what this means, but is creating leverage that is going to give you the leverage that you want. Otherwise, it's just going to be a dream. You see what I'm saying? It's just going to be something that you want, but you're not that effectively playing that game. If you want to be in that game, you need to play that game. And that game is more than just technicality, it's more than just the artistical ability. Important, that's part of our jobs, obviously. I'm not saying that you shouldn't pay attention to it, but that will give you as much, um, that will give you only much, basically. I was about to say something different, but that's basically what I want to say. That will push you only much to the goals that you want to achieve. Okay, and by the way, that is the reason. That is the reason of why, I was about to say every, but I'm gonna say almost. Okay, almost every project fail. It's because people don't gain this awareness, especially when it comes to management, for example. And so things get repeated time and time and time after, again and again, project after project. And the excuse or the justification is, oh, but we did this like this last time, as if last time worked, but it didn't work, right? And we all know this. And that's why there's this vicious cycle about like the industry and every project, because people go up normally. There's exception to this, of course, but that's exactly the exception that makes the rule, right? But people go up in the hierarchy side of things without changing anything about, tangibly speaking, without changing anything or almost anything about the way that they operate. So they go into these leadership roles with the exact same kind of posture and practices as once they got there, like just being an artist. Nothing wrong about being an artist, but if you are now a supervisor or lead compositor or whatever leadership role we're talking about here, then you need to tackle things from a different angle. You need to tackle things differently because the job is now different. The majority of times what happens is the job is different, but the way that people operate is exactly the same. They have just like a more fancy title, perhaps a little bit more money, sometimes not even that, and they keep working their asses off without any kind of control, without any kind of awareness of exactly what's going to happen, because they're just following orders. And the people that are giving them orders are also following orders from other people. So if you want to, if you want to break out of this cycle, you need to break out of this cycle starting with you and how you see yourself and how you present yourself, and you need you need to break. You need to be the one breaking out of the cycle yourself, because otherwise you're going to be in the same position. Another insight here that is related. I'm just like talking crazy here because I cannot see you guys in this session, right? Um, but one of the other things that I see happening like a lot of times is people, especially with the ones that we've been working with, right? Is people that want to be in these leadership roles, or the ones that are already in leadership roles, thinking that the ones that are not there, they think that they are definitely not going to be the ones doing certain things that the supervisor that they work with did to them. Say, I'm not going to be like that guy or like that other supervisor, because I didn't like the way that I was treated, or I didn't like the way that this person ran the shows, or we were always working late, and all whatever it may be, right? They don't want to be these people once they get there, but they have no kind of awareness whatsoever on how to avoid that. So what happens in reality, and I've seen it like many times, is they eventually get there for whatever reason, whether it's temporarily or not, and they struggle a lot because now they have the title, so their ego gets, they think ego thanks them, right? Or thanks for that situation, but then everything else, nothing changes. So they not only they're going to be this, they're going to make the same mistakes that the other supervisors did, they're going to do even more, because it's the first time doing there, being there and doing that job. So having just like, just saying that I'm not going to be like that guy, I'm not going to be like that person, or not going to be like that supervisor or whatever maybe, it's just like a wishful thinking if you don't do anything about it. Okay. On the other hand, the ones that are already there, and I'm talking about the people that we work with, they know that they had this experience that I just described, and they are now living it. So they thought it was actually, a cool thing to become let's say, supervisor. Okay. But now nothing really changes for them. They're working their asses off in the same way. They have the title, yes, they kind of buries things a little bit sometimes, but they're working perhaps even more. The pay is not like justifiable for the amount of work that they actually have extra, because a lot of times that's exactly what happens. So salaries is also something that we need to take into account, and exactly what the right salary is, and how to negotiate salaries and so on. All of this kind of stuff is things that we talk about as well when it comes to the strategy and that final phase that I just mentioned. But this is, it happens on both ends of the spectrum. The ones that are not there thinking that I'm not going to be that person once I get there, they get there and they're going to be doing the exactly same mistakes or even more. The ones that are already there, they already had that experience, and now they want, because they are realize that this is not sustainable. I need to get out of this loop, right? And this is very, 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 very common across everybody. So if you want to break the cycle for your life, it needs to start with you. It's as simple as that, right? And it's through that process that you'll get others noticing you, because you do things and you operate yourself differently. There are strategies, as I said before, to do this effectively, but this is the way. If you want to um, look at this as the magic pill, this is the magic pill. Okay, this is the magic pill, if you will. Does this make sense, guys? Do you have any questions around this? If you do, just put them below. In the meantime, for those of you that were not here from the beginning, although the session is not about this, but if you would like, we are reopening doors for the next level program. So if you would like to know more about, basically know all the details about exactly what I'm just mentioned, there's this short form here that you can fill out with your name and basic context, and we'll get in touch with you. Okay. Although the session is not about that. It's just like the session, for those of you who are not here from the beginning, is ask me anything session. So I'm here to serve you with whatever questions you have for me. Okay. But regarding this thing that we were talking about, like supervision and the roles in the way that they're being applied and all that kind of stuff, does it make sense? Do you have any questions or other questions around this? If you do, just put them down, and I'm happy to answer them. Let's see. Okay, no more questions in here. Jaros, um, I believe that's, well, I'm gonna call it this name because I cannot say the entire name. But does the question does your question was answered? What might be a good example of management system that you can develop? I kind of show you, like, very high level and very quickly, like an example. But was that helpful for you? Let's see. Hello, everybody. So we've been live for a little bit over 1 hour. I wouldn't say that would be possible, but because this was not planned at all. This was just like something that I decided to do, like, on a whim. And I wanted to give you, like, to have this as a small session, so it can be a bit more valuable without like a lot of noise from a lot of other people. So hopefully that was your experience for the ones that joined today. But if there's like one or two final questions, yeah, I can stick around for a little bit more, a little bit longer, maybe like 3-5 minutes more. Just let me know what are the questions you have for me. Okay, I know that this has been like a more difficult period for some people, and that's the reason of why I wanted to do something like this, like we used to do back in the day during the live show. Yeah. One more, two questions, guys. I'm happy to stick around if you guys have one or two questions more. No. Antonio, you were very participative just a while ago. If you have any questions, just let me know. Ganesh, did I answer your question? Hopefully, yes. Alex, hopefully I answered your question as well. I think I am pretty sure that I did. And Jaros, if there's no other questions, I just wanted to thank you guys for sticking around. And hopefully next time will be more announced, and we'll have a little bit more participants. But this time I decided to do this last minute. I wanted to do this more intimate, as I said before. It was great. Some of the questions were actually, some of the questions that you guys asked were actually very good questions. So I'm happy that I was able to provide you with the answers. And yeah, I'm just gonna finish by saying that we are opening the doors now for the program. Although the session, as I said before, was not because of that. It was really to give you value. All right. But if you guys want to know more information about it, my last message here on the chat, it's exactly about that. So just fill out the form, and you'll be able to know more information about this. All right. Guys, if there's no more questions, it was a pleasure to have you around, and hopefully that was valuable for you as well. And I'll see you next time. All right. Bye-bye. See you.